Hello everyone, welcome to Big Skill Solutions. In today's video, I'll walk you through how to create a wonderful dashboard in Excel using pivot tables and also a map chart. I will try to cover everything from organizing the raw data to building these dynamic reports so that you can level up your Excel skills. So let's get started.
Let's start by looking at our sample dataset. It contains 300 sales records from the US, Mexico, and Canada. And we have information like region, country, order ID, state, city, category, sales amount, quantity, and the order date. This is a typical data set that is really hard to understand just by scrolling through it because you cannot make any calculation. For example, if you want to know how much money do we have in Mexico, we will have to filter Mexico and then try to sum up the amounts to have a total. But then if I want to know how much we have in US, I have to filter again and have to do a lot of work. But this is where pivot tables come in. Okay, let's start working on the pivot table. I'm gonna remove the filter, and here the first step will be just select any cell on your table and go to insert and then pivot table. Okay, as you can see, it selected the data automatically. So if you see that it didn't select all of the data, you can just click here and select it by yourself. Okay, let's select it here again, and then it asks, or it says choose where you want the pivot table to be placed. So you can select new worksheet or existing worksheet. If you select existing worksheet, it means that you want to place the pivot table in this same tab, but I normally and people normally select new worksheet. So we can press OK, and here we can see now that we have the pivot table field list on the right with all the titles that are on each column in the data set. Okay, so now let's answer a question. Which states have the highest sales? So in order to do so, we need to select the information here, and you will see here the state. We can just drag it to the rows, and then we can select the cells and move it to value. Okay, here you can see the cells that each state had. As you may see, the number format is not the better to understand and to analyze this information, so we can just go here to values, click it, and then go to value field settings, select number format, and then you can add the format that you want to show in your report. Let's work right now with currency to decimals, and here you can select the symbol that you want to apply and select click, then click again, and you will see here the values in the currency format. Okay, so now you will see the state and the total sales per line per state. It's really easy, right? You don't have to go to the data set and filter by state and then add up the information with pivot table. It's really easy to do it. Now let's say that you want to see the breakdown by city within each state. So you can just go to the field list and select the city and just drag the city under state in the row area. Now the pivot table is grouped by state and by city. You can collapse or expand the states to view the detail. So you can click here, and as you can see, it collapses. But if you want to collect every row at the same time, you can just right click and select collect entire field, and everything will be collected right now. Okay, this is called drill down. You can also do it, by country. So here we have country, we can place it above state, and we'll have Canada, Mexico, and the USA, and we can also collapse them. Let's do it. We have by country, we can expand all, and now we have by country, by state, and if we want to see it, we can also do it by city. So expand entire field, and we have all the information that we need right now by doing our drill down. Okay, let's make it more interesting by comparing product categories. So we can just select categories and move it by columns here. Now you can see sales by state, by city, by country, and also broken down by category. If you want to see only US data, we can move, for example, country to filter, and here in filter we can select only USA data. And there you go, we have the US states with the city, and now your pivot table only shows US cells. Let's see that you want to see the information only by city, so you can remove the state. You can do it by clicking here on the list, or you can just select it here and drag it out. Okay, so right now we have the information by city, but let's say that you want to see the highest cells first here in the total. You can just select any value here in the total and then go to data and click sort. And here you have some options. You can select smallest to largest, largest to smaller. Let's see smallest to largest. Okay, so as you can see, it goes from the smallest cells in Houston to the highest one in San Francisco. Let's do it largest to smallest, and we have that the highest cells was in San Francisco. To make it more interactive, we can add slicers to our pivot table. So when you are in a pivot table and you click it, two new tabs will appear here on the ribbon. One is design and the other one is pivot table analysis. So if you go to pivot table analyze, you can see this button that says insert slicer. So just click it, and here we have the same fields that we have here on the right. So let's see that we want to see the information by category. Just click it, OK, and now we have a new way to filter the information, because if we click furniture, for example, we will see only the furniture information. If you want to see furniture and office supplier, just press Ctrl on your keyboard and then select the other one. Let's say office supplier. So you will see those two. Okay, you can remove the filters and you will see all of them. Okay, if you change your original data, remember always to refresh the pivot table. Just click, right click, and then select refresh, and it will get the latest information that you have on your data. Okay, when you are working with pivot table, you can also add some dynamic pivot chart so that it can be refreshed at the same time when you are using this pivot table. To do so, you just need to click on the pivot table and then go to the ribbon here in insert and then here in pivot chart. Select it, and we'll have different charts that you can use like bar, pie, columns. So let's use this one, columns. Click it and you will see the information by city, San Francisco, and then the category, and then it will go up until it reaches the cells that we have in that specific city for the specific category. If you want to create another pivot table with the same data, you can do it by just selecting the full pivot table that you already have, copy that information and paste it in another space. Okay, and then you can just change this information. Okay, let's do, for example, change here by country instead of filter. Let's add it hidden row. Let's remove city and let's remove category. So now we have only the cells by country. Remember also that here in designs you can select if you want to show the totals here. So here you have the grand total. You have the option for off when you don't want to show anything, or you have on for rows or on for columns, or you can select any of them, all of them, or just one. For example, here I can select on for columns only and it will choose the total. Okay, well, finally, if you want to see a map with like the information that we have here in the table, you just have to keep in mind that maps in Excel so far, maybe it can change in the future, but so far it doesn't work with pivot table. So if we click a pivot table and go to insert and then select map, look at the error that we will get. Okay, you can't create this chart type with data inside a pivot table. So if you want to see a map data, a map chart, you just need to copy the information and paste it as value. So let's go home, paste it and paste it as a value. Perfect. Then we can just select the numbers and click insert map, and here you have a specific map also that shows the highest cells and the lower cells in each country. The lighter blue, as you can see, is the lowest cells. In this case is in Canada. The highest cells is the blue or the dark blue, which is in Mexico. In this way, you can create so many dashboards, so many information that you may need, just adding filter, adding slicer, adding maps, and this is thanks to the wonderful strength that Power Pivot has here in Power in Excel. So you can also like go to view and then remove this option or on market so that you can have a more cleaner version of your reports. So if you really like this information, just let me know. If you want me to show you something to solve some doubts that you have in Excel, I'll be really happy to help you out. So thank you for watching.